What's up, y'all? Brian Salter here from Salter Racing Engines, and as promised, today I will hopefully give you a very easy 600 horsepower 383 combination. Getting ready to go dyno right now. We'll video the dyno, and we'll talk about the engine and let you know. I'll let you know everything about it and how easy it is to get 600 horsepower out of a 383 these days. The engine is you might as well round up and say 9.7 compression. This will be a, for the sake of the video, I'm gonna run it on pump gas. It is a Holley single plane intake. I will tell you that I have done some plenum work and port matching. The heads are the trick flow 200cc runner. It's cold, guys, sorry, my nose is running. 200cc runner trick flow heads. And I did do some bowl and seat work to those. And of course, you know, like I said, we lined the runners up real good on the intake manifold. Did some plenum work, a little rough. And it's comp cam. I think it's 248, 254, I think. Pretty sure that's what it was. And this one's on a 109. It is a 1.6 rocker. 3/8 push rods, 80 wall. We're not running a ton of spring pressure, nothing like that. The engine will have, and this is important that you listen to these things, right? The engine will have spring oilers on it. They're simple, they're easy to plumb, they're great insurance, especially if you want to drive at any kind of distance with any kind of lift, you know what I mean? Certainly not required, but just a good idea. And I've done all my little tricks to the engine block to make sure it lives. Fully adjustable timing set. This is a stock block, by the way. It's a 96 block, so it was a factory roller. You know, so you run the cam retaining plate. Oh, pretty cut and dry, guys. The 383 kit came from, it's a scat rotating assembly. And I think we'll bump 600 today. It's got H-beam rods, all that came with the kit. The pistons are, I think these are Molly pistons. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Don't think it's, nope. It's not gas ported. Not gas ported. And that's not for a reason. I would have liked to have gas ported it, but they're not gas ported. And it does not have the gas ported rings. It does have the factory Molly rings with it. But still, real good stuff. We didn't skimp on anything. We didn't run any overseas rockers or anything like that. It's comp cam golds. The springs are from comp. Retainers are from comp. The locks are from comp. The valves are from Trick Flow. Yeah. Should be cut and dry, guys. Now, I do want to talk to you about the header. The header that I've got on this thing is a 1 3/4 to 3.5 inch collector, and that header is built for the car. I need you to understand what I mean by that. The header is a decent sized header for the compression we'll have and for what it's going to be doing. It's, you know, in other words, I could take a different style header and make more torque, but that's on the dyno. I picked this header because it's going on a full-size 68 Chevelle that will have, you know, 15 feet of exhaust pipe and mufflers. So what I'm doing is I'm counteracting the exhaust system that will be put on the car. So you understand, I'm thinking ahead. You got to think ahead. So even if the engine is missing, say, 10 foot-pounds of torque on the dyno, those headers and what we're going to do on the car will more than make up for it. However, I don't think it's going to be missing. I think it's going to be I think it's going to be great. I've tested these things with all kinds of header configurations, and obviously my Tri-Y is the best one, but that's above the budget and difficult to get into a Chevelle unless you build it right there on the car, and you know, like I said, that's just out of the budget. So this header should do really good. I tested it against a 5/8 to 3/4 stepped header. I tested it against a straight 5/8, and it beat both of them. It beat the 5/8 to 3/4 by about 12 horsepower, and no, 12 foot-pounds and like 8 horsepower. It beat the 5/8 header by a mile. Oh, it's like 20. It wasn't even comparable. So this will be a 1 3/4 primary going into a 3.5. And other than that, I'll give you more details later. But I just got fuel this morning in my 5-gallon gas can, and I don't expect this to take very long. We should be firing it up, getting some heat in it, and making some pulls. Generally speaking, on my engines, it usually takes about 3 to 4 pulls tops, and the rings are generally seated, and that's because of how I do them. It's not always the case, especially on some of the more expensive vacuum dry sump motors. It might take a little bit more pulls because we're running a different surface finish on those. Alright guys, anyway, hope you enjoy, and I'll be talking to you here shortly. We just got the engine fired up. Thought I'd let you hear it outside. Man, she sounds awesome. Alright, we're going to run through the valve bus real fast, make sure everything's cool, and we're going to pull it. Let's just go to 65 on the first one. 614.
It flashed it.
Alright, moment of truth.
$5.99.
Oh! Stop it.
That
It'll make 600 once
it's gonna make 600.
Yeah.
That was 2 degrees of
$5.99.
timing.
They don't have no oil temp in it either.
Oh. How much torque?
506.
506 on the torque. Oh, my bad. Alright guys, so I added 2 degrees of time and brought it up about 11 or 12 horses. I could add 2 more, but I'm probably just going to make sure there's no noises and maybe hit it again. See if the oil temp comes up, might knock it over the edge. So, having problems with the throttle, but everything's good so far. What are you gonna do, Andrew? Yeah, let's do it again. I'm gonna go right back to back. You're seeing it live. Hopefully it'll knock over the 6 and we can load this thing up. I think we're getting wide open throttle every time. We're gonna work on the throttle. We'll get back to you.
I was 596.
Sucking in air on that whole them gaskets.
Yeah. I might hear one on that one side, but it could be exhaust leak, so.
$603.
Yeah.
Needed that
Awesome.
plug level up.
603,
Floats were a little low. Alright guys, I'll give you closing arguments later. We won the court case. Okay? Man, she sounds awesome. Well, there you have it, guys. 600 horsepower pump gas combination that I'm about to give you. And that engine is almost 6 years old. It's just, we built it and it's never been tested. And of course I've built many like it, but you know, we wanted to, it's got a home now. It's going in a 68 Chevelle. It's going to be nicely repainted. And I'll show you the valve covers for it here. These are the valve covers I've made for it. So it has my decal on it. Nice clear. That color, by the way, is actually the car body paint. So they painted the Chevelle the metallic blue, and I got a quart of the paint and shot and cleared the covers. It will have these right here that I put with my engines. They go on there like this, and that way there's no question as to what to set any lash or timing or anything like that. Just a courtesy, and it's good information for people. So when it's all fixed up and said and done, it'd be a really nice deal there. All right, let's talk about the combination real quick. All right, so basically you have a scat rotating assembly, 6-inch H-beam rods, 3 750 crank, Molly pistons with the 1212 3 mil ring. You have, it's 4030 bore. You have a stock mid-90s block. And that's one thing I want to talk to you about too, was the compression was only 9.7, and I would not want to put more power to this block than what we made. Right now, I think we're at the good, safe level of, it's pushing the issue a little bit because it is a stock block, but I'm not gonna squeeze any more out of it because we very easily could. With that being said, it's a custom cam that I made for it. It is a solid roller. It's on 109 LSA. It's dialed in on 109 LSA, and has a Holley high-rise intake. The cylinder heads are trick flow. They are the 2055 intake valve with a 1.6 exhaust, and I did do a little work to them. I did some work to the intake as well. And we have comp springs, they're 200 pounds on the seat. We are running 7/16 studs with titanium retainers, and I am running a stud girdle on it to tie everything together. I do highly recommend spring oilers. It's just a great thing to do. Very easy to plumb them. Just get -4 AN fittings, and you can come out the back of the block if you don't want to do any kind of machine work or any kind of drilling and tapping. You can come right out of the back of the block there and just get you a pipe plug fittings with a T in it and put #4 AN fittings and hoses right there, the back of your valve covers, and you'll have spring oilers. I am running this one has the Moroso HV55 oil pump that we polished and deburred before we put it in the engine. We took it up completely apart and worked inside the pump because there's so much machining casting in there, machining marks. And just like you saw us deburr engine blocks, we also deburr oil pumps because little chips of metal will fall and get between the gears. Sometimes they hang up the pressure regulator. Let's see. Pretty much, that's pretty much it. There is nothing special about it, but here's what I want to say. And I don't mean to step on anybody's toes, so don't take it that way, all right? You know, there's different restaurants, they have different chefs, and they cook things different ways. I'm just going to tell you what I know works. I don't know why there's such a belief that you need to run small heads on all this stuff, and it's really not true. I just showed you 600 horsepower. With 500 and basically 510 foot-pounds of torque, it will rev to the moon. I mean, we could turn that engine 8,000. And I've heard people say, oh, don't run this gigantic head, you know, there's no velocity. Well, the deal is they don't understand velocity, guys. Here's what makes velocity. What makes velocity is having the right valve size with the runner. You cannot judge heads by the CC volume, because if heads are different widths, then the CC volume is going to be different. A 200cc small block Ford head is not the same as a 200cc small block Chevrolet head. And most people are leaving a lot on the table. All right. If this engine had been 11.5 to 1, what do you think the numbers would have been? A lot more than 600. So to make a high-powered street car, Cubic inches is your friend, and so are big cylinder heads. But not big because somebody gutted them out with a porting tool. They need to be within a ratio. And that's where this 88, 90% stuff that I preach and try to beat in people's heads comes into play. So here's the thing. How can you fix a low velocity head? For example, let's say the runner is large. How can you fix it? Well, the fix is putting a bigger valve in it. The other fix is filling it full of epoxy, but you may not want to do that. It's not necessarily a good idea. The worst combination is a big port with a small valve. That's where you get into trouble. And how does that happen? Is people go in there, they port them out, make them huge, they get big flow numbers, and then they don't run. I mean, they run, they make power, but they don't perform. You got to understand the difference. So, keeping the valve size to the runner is what makes velocity. If a big head has the right valve, it's going to have velocity, guys. It's going to have velocity, and I guess some people just don't understand that. But we're running 335 heads on 396s all day long because the valve size is right with the runner. And what makes it 335? The width. It's a wide head, so the runner's long, so it's going to have more volume. Anyways, I'm tired. And like I said before, we just have a lot of work to do, you know? What are you going to do? So, if you didn't get enough information from this, you can message me in the comments. Main thing here was I wanted to show you how easy this is. Don't feel locked in to running a hydraulic cam with a dual plane RPM, and that's just what you got. I mean, half of these 383s running around here with dual planes aren't making 500 foot-pounds. I'll tell you that right now. What's wrong with having some get up and blow their doors off juice? Nothing. I mean, that's what I love. Now, you don't have to go that radical. So if I was going to make a recommendation and I was building a 383 or bigger, it would have at least a 215 head on it. At least. And it would be either one of mine or, you know, Trick Fluid's got some good stuff right now. One of mine is very expensive, and they're going to make a lot more power than that, but it's all on what you want. But don't put a small head on it. Don't put a straw. Okay? That thing wants some flow. We can build engines. I do this often. We can make it 800-900 horse big block. So easy. That drives like grandma's car because you have the right head and right cam in it. So don't think that you build an 800-900 horse big block that it's going to be beating the ground and hard to drive. That is not true. That's really old ways, but not anymore. It's just simply not true. It's very easy now. So I hope this video is enlightening. I want to show you that was the easiest dyno I have done in a long time. I mean, we literally bolted it on. I went through the valves, made about 2 or 3 pulls, and we were off with 603 horsepower. So those are fun days because they're easy. No problems, no leaks. It sounds awesome, and this is what the guy wants. And if you see a 68 Chevelle with blue valve covers and a blue paint job, I would probably avoid it unless you have a lot more power. A lot of fun. Oh, the oil pan. Let me tell you about the oil pan because there's power in oil pans, guys. The oil pan you can get from several people. But here's the thing. The passenger side kick out. It's a big deal. It's not such a big deal on Ford FEs. It's not such a big deal on LSs and other blocks that are similar. For example, if the crank is up in the block, then an oil pan is not going to have as big an effect. But like with a Chevrolet, where the crank is halfway, half of the main of the crank is in the block and half is not, it's in the cap, then you have counterweights that protrude much further into the oil pan, and the oil pan starts to really carry weight. It really carries influence. And on this small block, they do. So on the passenger side, make sure you got a good little kick out. As the crank rotates, it traps that oil in the kick out and helps get rid of some of your windage issues. It's 10 to 15 horsepower, guys. Windage trays, scrapers, they're wonderful. You're freeing the engine up. And that's what it's all about. So you can buy a ready-to-go head for very cheap now with, let's say, a 2055 intake or a 2080 intake valve and walk out of there with 600 horsepower all day long. All day long. And if you need consulting, send me an email. Anyways, thank y'all for subscribing. I'm doing good. My dad's doing good. I hope you guys are doing good, other than being tired. That's it. I appreciate your support. Have a good day. Talk to you soon.